Hey everyone, welcome back to the Professor's Reading Room. I know, fantastic. Anyway, so today we're going to read The Corner Store by Eudora Welty. Okay, this is an example of a descriptive essay. Okay, so let's get started. Our little store rose right up from the sidewalk. Standing in a street of family houses, it alone hadn't any yard in front, any tree or flower bed. It was a plain frame building covered over with brick. Above the door, a little railed porch ran across on an upstairs level, and 4 windows with shades for looking out. But I didn't catch on to those. Running in out of the sun, you met what seemed total obscurity inside. There were almost tangible smells: licorice recently sucked in a child's cheek, dill pickle brine that had leaked through a paper sack, and a fresh trail across the wooden floor. Ammonia, loaded ice that had been hoisted from wet crocker sacks and slammed into the icebox with its sweet butter at the door, and perhaps the smell of still untrapped mice. Then through the motes of cracker dust, cornmeal dust, the gold dust of the gold dust twins that the floor had been swept out with, the realities emerged. Shelves climbed to high reach all the way around, set out with not too much of any one thing, but a lot of things: lard, molasses, vinegar, starch, matches, kerosene, octagon soap, about a year's worth of octagon-shaped coupons cut out and saved, brought a signet ring addressed to you in the mail. It was up to you to remember what you came for while your eye traveled from Kansas sardines to tin whistles to ice cream, salt to harmonicas to flypaper over your head, batting around on the thread beneath the blades of the ceiling fan, stuck with its testimonial catch. Its confusion may have been in the eye of its beholder. Enchantment is cast upon you by all those things you weren't supposed to have need for, to lure you close to wooden tops you'd outgrown, boys' marbles and agates and little net pouches, small rubber balls that wouldn't bounce straight, frail, frazzly kite string, clay bubble pipes that would snap off in your teeth, the stiffest scissors. You could contemplate those long, narrow boxes of sparklers gathering dust while you waited for it to be the 4th of July or Christmas, and noisemakers in the shape of tin frogs for somebody's birthday party you hadn't been invited to yet, and see that they were all marvelous. You might not have even looked for Mr. Sessions when he came around his store cheese, as big as dollhouse, and in front of the counter looking for you. When you'd finally asked him for and received from him in its paper bag whatever single thing, it was that you had been sent for, the nickel that was left over was yours to spend. Down at a child's eye level, inside those glass jars with mouths in their sides, through which the grocer could run his scoop, or a child's hand might be invited to reach for a choice, were wine balls, all-day suckers, gumdrops, peppermints, making a row under the glass of a counter where the Tootsie Rolls, Hershey bars, Goo Goo clusters, Baby Ruths, and whatever was the name of those pastilles that came stacked in a cardboard cylinder with cardboard lid. They were thin and dry, about the size of tiddlywinks, and in the shape of twisted rosettes. A kind of chocolate dust came out of them when you shook them out of your hand. Were they chocolate? I'd say rather they were brown. They didn't taste like anything at all, unless it was wood. Their attraction was the number you got for a nickel. Making up your mind, you circled the store around and around the pickle barrel, around the tower of Cracker Jack boxes. Mr. Sessions had built it for us himself on top of a packing case like a house of cards. If it seemed too hot for Cracker Jacks, I might get a cold drink. Mr. Sessions might have already stationed himself by the cold drinks barrel, like a mind reader. Deep in ice water that looked black as ink, murky shapes that would come up as Coca-Colas, orange crushes, and various flavors of pop were all swimming around together. When you gave the word, Mr. Sessions plunged his bare arm into the elbow and fished out your choice. First try. I favored a locally bottled concoction called Lake Celery. What else could it be called? It was made by Mr. Lake out of celery. It was a popular drink here for years, but was not known universally, as I found out when I arrived in New York and ordered one in the Astor Bar. You drank on the premises with feet set wide apart to miss the drip, and gave him back his bottle and your nickel. But he didn't hurry you off. A standing scale was by the door with a stack of iron weights and a brass slide on the balance arm that would weigh you up to 300 pounds. Mr. Sessions, whose hands were gentle and smelled of carbolic, would lift you up and set your feet on the platform, hold your loaf of bread for you, and taking his time while you stood still for him, he would make certain of what you weighed today. He could even remember what you weighed the last time, so you could subtract and announce how much you gained. That was goodbye. And that, my friends, was Eudora Welty's The Corner Store. Bye, guys.